Welcome back to this already the final segment of The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Always like to talk to my good friend, Julie Cripe. She's president of Omni Bank, a phenomenal community bank with not only a great footprint here in Houston, but in many places throughout the great state of Texas. And she is a fighter, really a fighter, a passionate believer in entrepreneurship and the American dream and trying to keep that alive and well. And I think you honestly see that as part of your mission as president of Omni Bank, don't you, really?
I do, yes. It's the most enjoyable part of my job, and that's why I've stayed in it for 35 years.
Yeah, in spite of how sometimes there's so many other more attractive things you could do.
Seems like it sometimes, but I think the grass always seems greener. But I love the banking business, particularly being in community banks, where, as you said, we see so many entrepreneurs and we can watch their businesses grow over time.
Yeah, banking is such an important part of entrepreneurship. All these businesses that exist, so a bank has played a role in almost every one of them. You know, you got to laugh when Barack Obama says, "You didn't build that." You know, you didn't build that. But I tell you, that banks is one of those places where I really see the economy around me has been built.
I agree. They've been around since the beginning of time, since the forefathers landed at Plymouth Rock and before. And it's a necessary part of growing businesses in this country. Yep.
So you went to a conference recently on the banking, basically the state of the banking industry today, with a big emphasis on community banking. Talk about the conference. Where was it? You know, give us a little bit of information about it.
The conference was in New Orleans. About 1,200 bankers came from all over the country. I think that the key takeaway is that bankers are cautiously optimistic. They're not dancing in the aisles thinking that everything is wonderful tomorrow, but they do see some bright spots on the horizon. We've spent a lot of time, as you know, talking to our congressional representatives, and I believe some of them at least have heard the message that perhaps some of the regulations are coming at us too fast and furiously to keep up what has always been an American banking system that's worked so well, as you said, for small businesses and entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And all these barriers, they cost. They cost either in time, money, and usually in both. And they just make it harder for you to take care of your customers, make it harder for your customers to take their business to the next level.
That's exactly right. It's confusing on both sides. And when the provider of the service is confused, the customer is bound to be confused as well.
Absolutely. You talked to me a little bit before we got you on about the growing problem of cybercrime and how banks are beginning to watch that. And the thing about it is that businesses of all sizes are being affected by this. And even some of the largest websites out there, Fox News, which you can imagine has security out the kazoo, has been attacked a couple of times and shut down. So that's a huge problem. Talk a little bit about what the state is of that and what you learned at this event.
It's just becoming a bigger and bigger problem. We had someone from former CIA individual from that cybercrime unit who said that is what everyone believes in the law enforcement world, that's the next terrorist attack. They're trying to shut down our electric grid and particularly our financial institutions for the very reason that if you stop that, you're going to stop a lot of commerce, you're going to stop growth, and they know that's where they can bring us to our knees, if you will. Mm-hmm. So we had a lot of discussion. We've already, every bank in the country, no matter how big or how small, has put in many, many more protections because of the online banking. I think it's important that small businesses know that they're part of the diligence and they need to help their bank if they see anything unusual or something doesn't feel right.
What is the, kind of the takeaway when you were sitting in that conference? What was the takeaway that you had in mind when it came to the consumer and the business owner when it comes to their banking and the protecting of their information?
Well, a couple of things. After all these years and a lot of I'm sure hot air that the consumers think about and small businesses as well is protect. It's very simple. Protect your code for your debit card. Don't write it on the back of the little envelope that you keep. Don't write it on your checkbook. Don't put it somewhere where someone can find it. It's usually 4 digits. Please try to learn that and
Yeah.
Keep it in mind.
What do they say? Keep it easy for you to remember, but no one else to figure out.
Correct.
So don't put your own birth year in there. Put the birth year of your dog.
Right.
Not even one of your kids. To make it kind of esoteric, easy to remember, but not easy for anyone to figure out.
And please don't use 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd be
I can't
surprised.
believe I read a
Yes.
story of a huge percentage of people who do 1, 2, 3, 4.
Exactly.
You probably, frankly, those people who do that probably irritate hackers. It's like, wow, this wasn't even a challenge.
Yeah. Right.
At least make it interesting. Make me feel like I accomplished something. Well, I tell you, I always feel like I accomplished something when you come in. I feel like my audience is better prepared, more well versed on what's happening out there. With the final thoughts out there, when it comes to this, are there specific questions that you would suggest an individual ask their bank when it comes to taking care of their money in the security area?
Yes, I think they should ask to be on positive pay. That's something where you send a list of the checks electronically that you've written, and there's a system then that matches that up with the checks that actually come in. So if there's a mismatch, we call the person, and so we have the amount and the number of the check, and if it comes in different than that, it could be somebody who just changed the number or the amount, or it could be somebody that's doing something much more egregious to your account, and we want to catch it like you do way before any money gets lost.
Way before, absolutely. Julie Cripe, we love having you on. Thanks so much for being with us and taking time to talk about what's going on. Omni Bank, I encourage you to check them out, too. Phenomenal bank with a great footprint, a long history right here, not only in Houston, but throughout Texas. Check them out at OmniBank, OMNIBANK.com, OmniBank.com. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, so when we're back tomorrow, much more for you. And actually Monday, much more for you. I do want to remind you, of course, the show continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. And don't forget to check us out also at usdailyreview.com. Have a great day and spend it right here.